we got 500 puzzles turned up and there was a print error on them. The picture should have been centered and it was offset. That was a really bad moment. Like, I've only had a handful of times when I've probably cried, because that was a big freak out for me, because I was like, oh my God, I've got all these orders and I don't know what to do. And after I reached out to the factory and realized, well, it's in China, like the time that it's going to take to reprint these, the waste, all of that stuff for a small error. So I went back to all my wholesale customers and said, hey, this is the problem. What do you reckon?
Welcome to the Art Plus Audience podcast. Hello, hello.
Hey, Stacie.
So good to see you.
Hey, it's so good to see you too.
I'm so glad that we found time to chat. You do a lot of work with people in Australia, but, global audience. Like, how is it for you adjusting your time to fit all the different people you want to talk to?
Yeah, it can be tricky. I mean, people are so lovely and flexible with it. Like, you've come after, around dinner time, you've got a family as well, and I've got a family, so this morning was pretty wild getting everyone packed into the car and off to drop-offs and all that stuff. But I think people just make it work. It's really nice community.
It is. It's the nicest community. And that's kind of how we met, through this creative community. Laura, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and the beautiful business that you've built?
Yeah, so I'm from Melbourne and I draw the best bits of Melbourne. So my whole business is around my city. I draw the most iconic buildings and places, and I've got like a really bright, fun style. And it's kind of a hospitality focus as well. I started out drawing pubs and now it's just all of the city.
It's wild because you have niched down so much. I've been following your work for several years. I remember whenever you released a calendar and you told me how many calendars you sold from the city pubs, and we can talk about that amazing number in a minute, but you were just totally niching all the way down, and it seems to have worked for you, right?
Yeah, I did think at the start I tried to do a few different things. I sold invites on Etsy and I was like, oh, what's going to sell? But the first thing I drew was a pub, and I'm still drawing them 10 years later. And yeah, I think just if you find what you love, you just do it and the audience will come.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting though, you know this because you've been around the block. People are terrified to focus too inward on one subject. I can see it being a double-edged sword at times. So if you're, you know, finding your footing, like maybe you already love to make art, but you're trying to be like, how can I stand out in the internet? You either go all in on like one thing and make it your whole identity. Not whole identity, you do a lot of stuff. You do murals and you do product design, but it's your vibe. It's Melbourne, right? But then there's people who are kind of like the jack of all trades. They can draw and do anything and put it in their portfolio. It's so hard for people to make that adjustment. So do you think there's a certain line in the sand when it comes to whether you should niche down into one area or kind of be a little bit more expansive with what you're creating and selling?
Yeah, I just think it's a real personal choice. And I made that choice early on because I was drawing different things and I was doing dogs and whatever anybody asked me for, because, early days, you got to make the cash. And then I didn't really enjoy drawing those other things. So for me, I was like, I'm just going to keep drawing pubs. I'm going to keep drawing them because I know that people will like them. And that's what worked for me. But you can do many things, or you can just niche down tight and just do it your way.
And that's the very important thing for everyone who's listening. There's not one perfect path for building a creative business. I've been doing this for 16 years. You've been doing it for close to 10. Is that right?
Yeah.
Things evolve over time, but my business, the way I've built it and grown it, has been based off of the choices I've made that serve me best. And so people sometimes get really focused on, they want the clear-cut path to success. It's going to look different for each one of us, right?
Definitely, yeah. And there's lots of people who draw pubs in Melbourne, and there's other people that do it in their different styles, and that's cool. Like, oh, you've drawn the same thing as me, but it's totally different. We have similar customers, but some people buy the same pub from different people as well. So,
absolutely.
It's not really competition. It's just community, and it's just cool.
I remember early on for me, so I had this sheep that kept getting ripped off all the time. This sheep specifically made me lots of money, this sheep. But then what people didn't understand is that didn't mean I was protective of all sheep art, just the ones that look like mine. So I'd have students join Leverage Your Art, and they'd be like, I hope you don't mind, but I drew a sheep. And I was like, Yes, you can absolutely draw a sheep because, like, I don't own that animal. I own, like, the copyright to my specific work, but it is kind of challenging. I imagine since you have, like, such a presence in Melbourne doing what you do, maybe for other people who are drawing pubs, do you ever find them kind of being a little sheepish around you? You run into them at craft fairs and they're like, "Oh, it's Lawz Drawz. Tell me."
But they can be a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love seeing people create things in their own style. It's so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, there's not one path and there's not one style. I mean, you draw beautifully, but someone else could take a completely different approach to drawing the exact same subjects, and that's okay. In fact, do you ever, sometimes I tell beginning artists to find an artist that they really love and just create, like, look at their portfolio and be like, if they have a celestial piece of work of art, what would yours look like if you did your own vibe? And kind of go through the
Mhm.
categories of things so people can get outside of the decision making fatigue and just be like, okay, what does this artist do that you love? Draw yours, draw
Yes.
yours. And I don't know, what do you think about that?
Yeah, and I'll look at other artists' work, that might have drawn the same thing as me and just be like, "Oh, I wish mine looked like that. Like that's way cool." Oh, they might do like a pen fine line,
Oh,
black and white, and it's so detailed and so beautiful. I'm like, oh,
when you see
it's
the piece of art
better.
that you wished you'd made, you're like, you know, I just,
Like, can I change my style? Is it too late?
is it? Is it? I feel
Yeah.
that so deeply. But the good thing about niching in like you have is that Melbourne may be like a niche, but Melbourne is very large. A lot of
Yes.
buildings, I imagine, a lot of
About 5
people.
million people.
Just a smidgen bigger than Northwest Arkansas, a lot bigger
Yeah.
than Northwest Arkansas. But anyone who loves Melbourne will love so many different types of products. So I know you do the custom work. Can you tell everyone a little bit about how you're creating income right now with your multiple income streams?
So the biggest income stream for me at the moment is wholesale. I just came off a trade show as well. Finished that on Sunday. So wholesale is about 47% of my income at the moment. So there's products and wholesale, obviously. And then I do markets, and there's about 6 big markets in Melbourne every year. And I also do a lot of client work, so brand collaborations, so work for local councils, for breweries. I just did a mural for a bookshop, so all different kind of things. I do workshops and I do licensing. So sometimes people take my artwork and put it on a bin wrap on the main street. So because it's all local stuff,
It's
yeah, so
wild.
it just can go anywhere.
So wholesale, are the majority of your stores then in Australia and New Zealand, or are you doing a lot selling in the States too?
They're all in Melbourne. That's
I
how niche
figured
it
as
is.
much.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
almost a decade ago, the ability for us to reach each other like became very difficult. Like I used to have a lot of retailers actually in Australia, shockingly,
Yeah.
and I have none anymore because
Wow.
shipping
Okay.
is just so bananas.
Yeah, and it really makes it easy, and I just don't have to think about international shipping, so it's quite nice.
Good for you. I am so
Yeah.
happy for you.
Yeah.
Stay in your little happy place, Australia. It looks so wonderful, beautiful. People who love to support artists. I mean, come on.
Our little island.
Pretty
Yeah.
fantastic.
I did get asked though that at the trade show, it was an Aussie guy, and he said, "Oh, I want somebody to draw a picture of Austin, Texas for a puzzle." And I was like, "I'm not your girl."
That is so funny. I'd love to ask you a couple of questions. So, you and I really started talking because you had taken this calendar class that I had. And don't remember the context, but either you emailed me or you commented and you're like, Stacie, I've sold a bunch of calendars. And you were telling me about it. And I remember I had you in at the Creative Powerhouse Society, my membership, and did an interview with you where you were just talking about the success of the calendars. And I've read that since then you've been doing it for 4 or 5 years and you have collectors who are coming back every single year to
Yes.
buy that calendar. So can you kind of tell me a little bit the story of the calendar?
Yes, yes, the calendar. They're so funny. I released them in lockdown. So Melbourne was under a pretty hardcore lockdown. We couldn't go to the pub for a long time. So the first one was called Let's Hope We Can Get on the Beers, which was like a something that our premier said about when the pubs opened up. So it's still got the same name. I've tried to change it, but it's just kind of stuck. So it's called Let's Get on the Beers, and every year it's 12 different pub illustrations. And it was really just like, oh, just put my artwork in a calendar, didn't think too hard about it. And then I started getting messages, and people started coming up to me at markets and saying, oh, we went to 6 out of the 12 pubs last year. I was like, oh, that's so cool. You visited the pubs. Like, I didn't even think of that. And now it's become a real thing, and it's called Pub Club, and people go every month. They follow the pubs, and people have been doing it for, this will be the end of the 4th year we're coming into, so I'm releasing the 5th year coming up. So some people will have been to the pub like 48 times with a group of friends. So they meet up, they've got their group, their pub club group, and they put it in the calendar and go, okay, April 22nd, and they mark it all out from the start of the year, and they make it a real thing, and it's just beautiful. And people come up and say, oh, we're busy next month, so we've already done the September pub. And they take it very seriously.
This
I
is the
absolutely
best
love it.
marketing I've ever
Love
heard
it.
of. You need to do you talk about this enough? Like you should be a local paper story about how artists brings
Yeah,
people together to support local pubs and create like ritual and connection in a broken world. I don't know. There's
I
the headline.
know.
It's like,
I know. It's so beautiful. And then the pub this month is closed for renovations. I got a panicked message the other day. Where should we go? What should we do? I was like, I didn't know this was the service I was providing.
you have
So
like
yeah,
a pub
it's,
cyclopedia now that you sell with all
I
the
know I
pubs.
am. Yeah, I
Yeah,
pretty much am.
that's amazing.
So
I
it's
love
so
that.
lovely. I love it. Yeah. Next year is going to be the end of the 5th year. So I was talking to one of the OG pub club girls, and we're talking about having a bit of an event to celebrate that.
I love it so much. So, how many calendars do you mind sharing? Spill the numbers because we love real numbers. How many calendars are you selling per year now?
I sell about 1,000 a year.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
1,000. That's a good solid number.
yeah, when I first did it, I thought, I might sell 100, and in that first release I sold 800. So that kind of went bananas, and from then on I did, so still around 1,000. Yeah.
Just 1,000, but
Yeah.
for a launch, I think that what's so perfect is you didn't overthink things. You told me. I imagine you went to pubs, and that's part of why you liked it, right? Like, are you
Yeah.
a pub gal? We don't have a
Yeah.
lot of pubs in Arkansas. We have
Yeah.
some bars,
It's a
but
bit
different,
different.
you
Yeah.
know? But you thought about like, what do I want to create? And you just created it and you didn't overthink it too much. And you already had an audience built in. But I don't even think you were focused so much on selling to them as much as you were just like creating what you wanted to create, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that if there was not much thought in the putting the first calendar together, but now it's very involved, and I make sure I'm in 12 different suburbs, and I've got to
All
make
the
sure it's
things to
fun for
please
everyone.
everybody. I love it. It's kind of your signature product, is what I would call it. It's something that people know you for. Of course, you're known for other things, but that too. And I find that a lot of creatives, when they're in product, they want that one signature product, whether it's the wholesale product that people want to put in their stores, or for me, tea towels have become like my thing, and I never thought that would be it for me. Like when I was
Yes.
teaching leverage the first time, it wasn't tea towels that I was known for. And now I'm just like a little tea towel princess. Do you ever wonder if, like, what if the calendars ever slow down? Like, what would you do in its place? Not to jinx it. I think they won't slow
No, that's fine. Well, that's not even my biggest product really. It's more the Melbourne range. So
down Melbourne
I've
range.
got there's an illustration of Melbourne, and from that I created a jigsaw puzzle, also stickers and magnets, and they go bananas. Like, I never thought I'd be in the souvenir game, but here we are.
It is a game. It is wonderful.
It
And
is.
and there's just so much tourism and people coming in to visit. So everyone wants to give that gift, holidays. Since you're like a city niche down lady, is there like a
Yes.
whole group of people who have niched down on their cities that and you have like this little club? Like I own LA. I'm going to niche down on LA.
Yeah.
I'm going to niche down on Chicago. I've got like Edinburgh. Like is that like a vibe? You should start that club for the
We
city
should
you feel
start that. Yeah,
I like
international. But we're just really into our own city, aren't we? We're like, oh, what? There's other cities?
there's other
Who
cities.
knew?
Well,
But yeah, like if I'm good friends with lots of other people who draw Melbourne,
yeah.
and some Sydney people, and then people go, oh, have you got a Sydney puzzle? I'm like, nah, someone from Sydney can do that. I might do it eventually, but
All
in
right
terms of
now, you're
logistics
busy
and
enough.
stuff, it's a bit annoying.
So let's talk about all these years. You've had a lot of success, which, is amazing to see. It'll encourage so many people watching. But you've probably also made like one single mistake in your business, probably only one, because you're really cool. So if you could share like a mistake that you've made in your creative business and how you kind of recovered from it, that would be super awesome.
Yeah. I guess mistakes is a tricky one. I think when it's your own business, I don't really see them as mistakes. It's more just like you just got to keep going and find a solution. So I guess there's things that I could have done better. Like, I guess early days would be things like I didn't really know how to price things, like for wholesale or even client work, and just waiting. Like, you go into a client meeting and then spend days trying to find people for, oh, how do I price this, or what should I do here, and wasting all this time. You get back to the client, they're like, oh, we've moved on. So just learning from those things, I guess, and just, yeah, how to price, how to communicate with clients, all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's been other things like I think we got 500 puzzles turned up and there was a print error on them. The picture should have been centered and it was offset. And that was a really bad moment. Like, I've only had a handful of times when I've probably cried because really, you just run it your way and it's just fun. That was a big freak out for me because I was like, oh my God, I've got all these orders and I don't know what to do. And I basically, after I reached out to the factory and realized, well, it's in China, like it's the time that it's going to take to reprint these, the waste, all of that stuff for a small error. So I went back to all my wholesale customers and said, hey, this is the problem. What do you reckon? Can you sell them? And they're like, absolutely, we can sell them. Not a problem. No one will notice. We don't even notice. And yeah, and so I felt a lot better. And then, yeah, I think it was just kind of working through that and figuring it out.
Well, I want to point out one really important thing that you said because I know a lot of people who would not want to let a retailer know about a mistake like that, or they
Mm,
would have already done a lot of paying to reprint and rush it to solve the problem before they like bring it to them and be like, but I fixed it. You just ask. This
yeah.
started simply. I mean, I'm sure you thought about how you could do it, but then when you went to your retailers, like, what do you think? Is this going to be a problem? And they weren't upset about it. Sometimes we are a lot more nitpicky about these things because, we're obsessed with margin and our, everything correct on our layouts, but a lot of people don't even notice those things. Have you noticed that? It's just
Uh,
us.
and I had people, I was showing them, I was shoving the boxes in their face going, look, what's the difference? Spot the difference. They're like, I don't know. So
Exactly.
no
Did
one
we
could really tell.
Is it like our little neuroses of obsession with that actually can create problems that don't exist, or
Definitely, yeah.
something where like maybe the solution isn't as dire as you thought it would be. I used to have the same thing. I had cards that I would purchase and they would come folded, but they'd be slightly off, not perfectly
Yeah,
square. And I'd be like, no, no. And I mean, I
yeah,
was throwing out a lot of cards. And then I
yes.
actually did the math and I was like, we're going to see if anyone actually complains. And if they complain, then we'll send them a different one. Because the truth is, let's not make our life harder than it needs to be. I also like how you seem to imply that you don't really view anything as a problem. It's just like something to figure out, right?
You just got to get on with it, don't you?
Yeah. The people who last in business, this is something I read recently but can't quote it, are the people who just stick around the longest and just keep going. You just keep going because there's always going to be something new on the horizon that could throw you, like one of my manufacturers went out of business or, you
Yeah.
know, one of our biggest retailers, had to change buyers and things like that. It happens, but it's like, well, then I'm just going to keep going and find a different way forward. And I think that's really hard for people to develop. What would you call it? Endurance,
Yeah, and
grit,
problem solving, I guess.
problem
Yeah.
solving. Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel like you're just a natural problem solver, Laura?
Oh, my background is in events as well. So, yeah, I used to solve a lot of
You're
real
like cool
problems
under pressure.
then.
You're probably way cool under pressure too, because if you did events planning, then there's so many things that are out of your control and unpredictable.
Definitely. And also, it's, when there's a big client involved or something, now when I do client work, it's literally a drawing and here you go. Whereas that was creating an event and there's lots of things that could go wrong. Like I can fix a drawing. So for me, it just feels like it's not so stressful. We're drawing pictures, aren't we? Like it doesn't have to be hard, it doesn't have to be stressful. It's
I
got to
love
be fun. Yeah.
keep it fun. So I have one more business question, and then I have a couple of lighter questions for you, just to round it all out. So you do commissions quite a bit. I've seen photos of some of your large scale ones. I don't know, you don't have to name the clients, but
Mm.
can you tell me, is it lucrative for you to do murals of that size?
Yes, it is. So
And
all my murals are done digitally.
yeah.
So everything I do is on the iPad. But yes,
And
definitely.
so from your iPad, you're just drawing and you're finding a way to make it really large, put it on wallpaper, and you're just installing it like a wallpaper install, right?
Yeah. So I just draw it in panels and it can be a little bit tricky. And then I get someone else to stitch all the panels together and make one big scene. So it's
See,
not as easy as if you were doing it on Illustrator, but I don't like using Illustrator. So.
what I love though is it's an incredibly smart way to approach it because whenever you hear mural, a lot of people are thinking, I can't hand paint something this detailed of my art. And then, of course, there's, well, the other solution is to do this. And do clients care that it's not hand painted?
No, not at all. And they can, I mean, they see it before it goes on the wall, so they know exactly what it is.
See, I think that sometimes the idea of what has always been is a barrier for people. Like just finding another way forward. I know you're not the first person who's done murals this way. I know there's lots of people who do it this way now digitally thanks to all of our new technology, but I think that people underestimate like a lot of people like murals, especially something that can be temporary, like a wallpaper install.
Yeah.
And you're working with like businesses for these, right?
Yeah. I don't do any private commissions anymore. It's all big businesses now.
Big businesses. What's the biggest business that you've worked with? You don't have to say the name, but like maybe a range, something that, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, but like the coolest one at the moment is like one of Melbourne's original breweries. So I've done a series of cans for them, which fits with me perfectly because it's they wanted a Melbourne range and I draw pubs. So it's all about beer.
I'm very interested in how you balance it because you have different income streams than I do, but I don't do a lot of like corporate work, I do a lot of
Yeah.
direct consumer product, wholesale, and teaching. So how do you balance it all?
Yeah, it's at the moment it's a really tricky balance because I've had more client work than anything, which means my product line suffers. So as long as I've got some good products that continue to sell, that's fine. But I can't really build on that when I'm drawing for other people. That's where it gets a little bit tricky. So yeah, and just the deadlines, I guess, managing them. But I guess with my background in events, I'm just got a bit of a natural knack for that.
Just you on your team, or do you have anyone who helps you?
It's just me. I had an assistant who just left recently. She's just finished uni and she's gone off to get a real job. So it's back to just me. And then I've got an online business manager as well who helps with the online stuff. But yeah, I need more people. Definitely. I always need lots of people. So, and then it's just even the printing and packing and getting ready for markets. And now for markets, I have a man with a van who will come and pick everything up and take it to the venue. And then I have an assistant who will set it up so then I'll just rock in the next day fresh, which makes a, 3-day market. It could be a 2-day market instead of a 4-day with a bump in. So,
And with markets, you're talking both wholesale markets and markets like that are direct to consumer, correct?
yeah, I think you call them, are they art fairs or
Yeah, like
something?
craft shows,
Yeah.
art fairs. So
Yeah,
you're
craft shows.
you're
Yeah,
still
yeah,
doing a lot of things like that. So I work with a lot of people who they don't like in-person events. I mean, you did event planning,
yeah.
so probably you have a special like love and not afraid of people, which is good. But for a lot of
Yeah.
people, the idea of planning their calendar year for their art business around in-person events is really daunting, but I find it to be one of the best ways to test out new product, to get to know clients, to get leads. So, what would you say to the person who has opportunity to do in-person markets, whether it's wholesale or direct to customer in person, and is afraid and timid? Because I keep saying that, the TikToks or the Instagrams that always go viral about like, I make no money in my booth. Like, those are the ones that get the attention, not the people who are like, another nice, steady
Yeah.
show. What do you say to that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think you've got to find the right show for you as well and just start small. Like, go to a little nice market somewhere. The ones I do are pretty big and intimidating. They cost a lot of money and it's 2 grand to just turn up without anything. And yeah, but you can do a little local market for $50, meet your customers. It's they might say some things that make you feel uncomfortable, like $60 for a puzzle. Oh, but it's feedback, and you can say what you want back to them. People give me stuff like, oh, if you did a puzzle of this area, I'd buy it. And I'm like, well, you and no one else, like in a nice way. But you can joke around with them. And it's just the feedback you get is amazing. I also have picked up wholesale business from craft fairs and mural opportunities, like lots of different opportunities. It's not just people who want art on their wall that are there. It's everyone's there. Businesses are there. So
You
it's
become
a
armed
great.
with your business cards. So your must-have marketing assets for
Yes.
in person. You got your business cards, email sign up. I'm not sure how you're doing it. Give me the little scoop.
Oh, I don't do it very well, Stacie, but yes, you should have those things. But yes, definitely business cards. I have a big sign behind me that says Lawz Drawz, and I always encourage people to take a photo so that they remember my setup and what my work looks like. Because if they're just taking a business card, they might never look it up. Just encouraging people to follow you on Instagram. Oh, I release new things all the time, so you'll be the first to know if you're on Instagram, or sign up to my newsletter. You can, there's a QR code if you want to do that. Some people do a 10% off if you join the newsletter at the day, and there's all different ways you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Last question I have for you is the best advice you could go back and give yourself at the very beginning of your art business venture.
I think at the start, I reckon it's just create what you want to create. So I did that in a roundabout way. I started drawing pubs, but I couldn't see how they were going to make me money. So I went off and did other things for other people. And then I did a full circle and came back to that. But just stay true to yourself, and you're not going to enjoy it if you're drawing something you don't want to draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love what I do. Like, it's so cool. And I wouldn't find it exciting to draw a puzzle of Austin, Texas. I only want to draw the places that mean things to me and my audience.
And that matters. And it shows
Yeah.
through. So create the things that you like to create and love what you're creating. And if you ever get to where you don't love what you're doing, maybe stop and ask yourself, well, at what point did I stop loving it? And maybe you can then kind of get back into the fold a little bit, back where you'd like to be and keep going and grow. So
And you don't have to stick with something. You can try it for a while and change.
I definitely get bored with things and like to change. And I've been fine. My business has not
Yeah.
suffered for it because that's how I work best. So always figure out, coming back to the beginning of this conversation, there's a lot of different paths, a lot of different ways forward. But I think knowing yourself and what you love is going to be the best kind of starting point, no matter where you go after that. And, don't just follow my recipe or Laura's recipe or anyone else's. Like, take what we're doing, see what applies to you, apply it to your like specific situation, and then go have some fun with it and grow it. But do bring your business cards to your craft shows, please, and your newsletters.
Yeah, don't
That's how I'll
don't
end
listen
this
to
one.
me.
Where can everyone find you online?
It's lawzdrawz.com and Lawz Drawz on Instagram. It's LAWZDRAWZ because somebody had taken the S's.
Don't you hate it when that happens? I do. Thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate it. And good luck for the release of your 5th calendar. I can't wait to see what a big success it is for
Thank
you.
you. I'll send you one.
Yeah, I would love it. I'll become a big Melbourne girly. It'll
Yeah.
happen. I love it. All right.
Great to chat. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in. Hey, could you do me a favor? Could you subscribe to this podcast and then share it with one of your best art friends? I'd really appreciate it. And then head on over to Instagram and follow me at the Leverage Your Art account, and you can keep up with all of our future episodes. Thank you so much for your support. It means everything to have you here listening and learning. Bye.